Another episode of the Andrew Glowczewski Experience. This is gonna be episode 160. We getting up there. Just gonna continue this photo bashing, man. Got a got a fun picture to work with here. Let's see what I can do with it. If you've been watching me, then you know the process. So I got a Cowboy Bebop playing in the background, man. Since I have my Voodoo open and I have Cowboy Bebop, actually I have the DVD. I have the whole DVD series, and I have the whatchamacallit, the digital copy of it as well, man. I can't believe that that's one of the rare series that I have like double two versions of. I mean, it's just I love it that much. So, can you blame me? There we go. So now we got our picture at the size that we wanted. All right, so I'm a little late on the stream tonight. I wanted to start a few hours ago, and then I know I was watching King Arthur the other day, and I had to cut it short, and then uh, I went to go pick it back up, and I said, you know what? That's not right to cut a movie halfway through when I'm in the middle of trying to figure out like what's wrong with the movie or why I didn't like it. So I started it over from the beginning and watched it with intention, you know what I'm saying? And I gotta say, man, I feel like I just watched that movie for the first time, considering everything that I learned about it. Talking about the Guy Ritchie, Charlie Hunnam, King Arthur movie with Jude Law. Um, if you didn't catch my previous stream, basically it was just me talking about why I love Guy Ritchie movies, and it's so disturbing to me why I don't like the King Arthur movie. So, uh, to so I just wanted to kind of address it for myself. You know what I mean? Like, just bring it to an end. I'm sick and tired of that movie sitting there being in my opinion of it being a stick in my side. So I was like, let me watch it. So I'm a little late to the stream tonight because I was watching it, and holy shit, it's like watching it for the first time ever. Um, there was so much that I learned that I don't even think I was aware of before, and I can identify what I love about the movie and why I have a hard time saying that I don't like it, and then I can identify um, why I don't like the movie. I figured out what went wrong with it. Well, wrong with it in my opinion, of course. You know what I mean? Some people, it may be their favorite movie ever, and some people may just say that the whole movie sucks. Um, I was always on the fence about it. I'm no longer on the fence. I'm very clear about that movie now. After watching it, I couldn't even tell you how many times. I saw it in theaters. I rented it on Redbox a long time ago, and now I own it, and I've watched it twice since I've owned it. So it's like, okay, I've watched it a good amount. Me being a Charlie Hunnam fan and a Guy Ritchie fan, it's the least I can do. And now I have it to watch at my disposal because now all the things that I love about it, I love even more. And all the things that I hate about it, I understand. And I can watch that movie with that understanding, which will help me enjoy it more. Uh, so yeah, while I work on this joint here, um, I just wanted to address it since it was something that I talked about before. And whether this is your first time catching my channel or not, and you have no idea what I'm talking about, well, it is what it is. I figure me talking is always going to be a little bit more entertaining than me just being silent while I do, my whole art thing over here. Um, So I want to, as I was watching it, I started, I don't want to say taking notes as if I was writing things down. I almost wanted to. I almost wanted to like sit down and actually write notes, but I figured every time I would look down to write a note, I'd be looking away from the screen. So I said, I'm just gonna talk. I'm just gonna watch, look, listen, and then I'll talk about it um, when I get onto the stream tonight. Um, I've been kind of wrestling with the idea of writing down my thoughts, and so that way, while I'm in the middle of a stream, I can uh, I can express what I want to express in the order that I want to express it. So that way, I'm not just kind of all over the place and scatterbrained and everything like that, how I normally tend to be. So before that happens, let's just get into it, man. I mean, that movie starts off with the war elephants attacking the castle. And I'll be honest, I've watched that I don't know how many times, and even though I think like like giant elephants is dope, it never really made sense to me. And now it makes sense why it never made sense. I probably never fully read that caption in the beginning of the movie before like even a scene starts. It does like a little caption, kind of like how some movies do, where they'll just play, they'll have a little caption, in the dawn before time type shit or something like that, like the Star Wars scroll and shit. Either way, there was a little caption, and it talked about like men and mages used to live in peace and harmony, and then something something something. I still didn't really quite catch it, but it was like, and this mage is now attacking this man, and it's like Camelot, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. So now the war elephants make sense. They're magic. Got it. Like, and I'm down with that. Like, hey, it is what it is. If the elephants are magic, they're magic. Like, I'm not gonna. But I always used to wonder, like, where the fuck are these big animals coming from? Which I'll get into later as well. Um, so immediately off the bat, I'm watching this with more clarity, better understanding, and things like that. Spin one, inverse the selection. Let's blur this out. Oh shit. And my eggs are done. Give me a second. Can we see that? Yeah. All right, sorry about that. There's always so much to do, and then it's like, it stops me from holding the stream or, hosting the stream. Is my camera dropping? Is it slowly slinking? Here, let me try to adjust it a bit. There we go. Alright, fuck it. I'll just let that rock like that. Um, alright, so where was I with the this whole thing? So yeah, Damn, how do I want to do this? I'll save this selection. Save selection, just in case I need it. I don't do this too often. Okay. Just in case I need, I don't want to go around tracing his body again. So load selection. Load selection. Let's try this again. Okay. So immediately I'm like, okay, now I get it. Men and mages were cool, then they became not cool, and now this is kind of like the last of the mages battling last of the men. Now that opens a whole nother can of worms of questions, but we're not going to get into that because that's not what we're here to do. We're here to talk about, uh, you know, we're here to talk about the King Arthur movie, particularly. So let's just talk about the King Arthur-ness of it. There we go. Damn. So cool. Now I know why the elephants are there. And then it proceeds to show me something I'm sure I've seen and I've just forgotten about it. Eric Bana playing, I forget, King Arthur's dad's name, whatever, Pendragon, playing the king, does like the most gangster shit. All is lost, but he knows like I just gotta kill this motherfucking mage. So the king runs ahead of everybody and goes and jumps on an elephant like he's Hemdall, who saw an invisible UFO invading Asgard, and just jumps on the motherfucker and then proceeds to go infiltrate and kill the the mage. Yeah, this spoiler town over here. So, I mean, I feel like I've never seen that before. I mean, I know I have several times, but now I'm like, okay, cool. I guess because I know what they're fighting for now, or at least what he's fighting about, like it makes a little bit more sense to me as to like what's going on or something. So, I mean, that shit right there was gangster. So I was like, okay, cool. Then, it's the beginning of the movie, and so now let's get into it, you know, because this all happens like super quick, you know, and I'll address everything. I'll talk about like what it is that I came here to talk about as far as like that movie goes. So, the movie starts with like now the king kills the mage, he runs back, and now, you know, um, there's a whole battle going on, and battle going on at the castle, and then the king is like he gets his queen, and he's like, yo, we need, and the baby, and he's like, yo, we need to get the fuck out of here. They get the fuck out of there, and as they're leaving, they get attacked by some giant motherfucker. And as they're getting attacked by this giant motherfucker, here's the other thing: I'd never really paid attention to like how he was the king and he had his people. How the king has peoples that do shit for him. and do shit with him and work for him and all that shit, like his council or whatever you want to call them, like, the council's all there. I never really even paid attention to him. I couldn't really tell you how much I knew Littlefinger and uh, I'm never gonna pronounce that man's name, but the guy who plays in every movie in the B roll, the Blood Diamond dude. He always plays a B roll. That man, he's done enough work in Hollywood where he deserves to play like the main role in something. And no, I'm not talking. Blood Diamond still wasn't enough because you have Leonardo DiCaprio in there. So it's like no one's gonna outshine Leonardo DiCaprio. How dare they do that man like that? But that guy, like I never knew how much of the King's Council was like there already, or even that Jude Law was there. I never really got into it. Like the beginning, so much is happening, and you just never know it. You just never know it. Okay. Okay. So, yeah, man, there was just like so much I just noticed now that I know why the elephants are there and why they all just started falling and get defeated. Now I'm watching like now I've seen the whole thing and I was just like, yeah, King Arthur, they're telling like the Moses story, with putting him in a basket and stuff like that, which I probably like told myself in the past when I watched the movie. So it's like, okay, I'm not seeing anything I haven't seen, but I was thinking about how much of this was like, oh, they're telling the Moses story. Like they're telling King Arthur's story, but they're telling it with like the Moses affect to it cuz I immediately with the kid in the boat and showing up, in a river and shit like that, it immediately speaks to like, oh my god. This is the one problem with Hoodoo. Like, is there a way to make a playlist? Yeah, I don't think there's a way to like actually make a playlist because I just want to play like episodes back to back without any of that. Anyways, there we go. All right. So, damn man. Oh shit. Don't do that. All right. Here we go. And immediately, like, that's a problem because that's a problem with the movie, with the characters and all that, is because they just told a whole lot without saying a whole lot, and it has almost nothing to do with it, and the thing, nothing to do with the movie and the story that they're trying to tell, and the parts that do matter, they're not exposing it. The parts mattering, meaning that side character dude and his role, the Littlefinger guy and his role, and Jude Law. Like, they give Jude Law a little bit of shine because one, he's Jude Law, but two, it's also like it's like, he's going around, he's killing his wife. Like, we could tell, like, okay, you're doing some dark shit, but like, what's happening? You know what I mean? And we don't see what happens to the king, and that's part that was meant to be done that way, and I don't think that should have happened. But they're keeping a whole lot of mystery with all this action going on, and they showed like a lot of characters that mattered but didn't make it seem like they mattered, and then the characters that they did make it seem like it mattered, like Eric Bana, for instance. As much as like he's the king and like, yeah, kings matter and shit like that, it was like he's about to die and we're not even really going to be clear about how and why he's dying. I would say he don't really matter all that much. He don't matter as much as Littlefinger, and oh fuck, I gotta get this guy's name because I know it's like one of them confusing ones, but if I'm gonna talk about him, like, let me let me go. Let me get this man's name. What's this man's name? All right. Okay. So his name is either Demon or Gmon, and then Hunt. Fuck. Demon or Gmon Hanzo. I guess that's why I never knew his name, is because it's almost like Digimon, and maybe it is pronounced Digimon. I don't know, but either way, like, his character mattered because he's always, we all, as the viewers, as the watchers, as the people going to the movies, like, we recognize him because he's been in like a million movies. So if he's going to be playing an important role, like, he should be more than just background noise when we're introduced to him in the very beginning. When we're introduced to him, he's barely there. Like I said, I couldn't even tell you, like, after all the times I watched it, that he was there with Eric Bana when Eric Bana went and did some gangster shit against a mage and shit. Like, we should know that. Littlefinger, he, he still didn't really get much other than, like, because he accused Jude Law. Him and Jude Law had a back and forth. Like, it was like, okay, like, we kind of know he's there, but either way, like, just off Jump Street, like, we're immediately, I'm immediately like, I don't really, I don't really recognize what's happening, or can really say what's happening and things like that. Okay. So then, we get the baby getting picked up by the hookers at the river, and then, then they, like, title screen, King Arthur. All this happened within a matter of minutes. Like, it was really quick. And then we get like the King Arthur scene, and then immediately in the King Arthur scene, we're launched into like a fast track, a montage of this man growing up in life. And it's like, okay, I can kind of get it. You know, they hired a young kid and they hired a middle-aged kid, and the middle-aged kid, you know, didn't really look like Charlie Hunnam, but then he turns into Charlie Hunnam, and it's like, okay, cool. That's got to be difficult to cast that sort of thing. But if the guys are being used in a montage and not really acting all that much, it's like just get someone who looks like him then. You know what I mean? If he doesn't have lines and shit, like if he's just being used in a montage for a few shots, like get the line, not even get the lines in, get the shots and get somebody who looks like him and get the shots. Anyways, uh, hmm, there we go. So immediately you have within the first, I don't even know, 5 to 10 minutes of the movie, you have a caption that you can bear that, you know, is easy to miss. Cause I missed it every single time, including this time when I watched it. I almost stopped and went and rewound it, but I was like, it's the first 5 seconds. Like, like you got it. Men and mages are a thing, and then they fight. It's like, okay, cool. But then so we get this battle that only shows Eric Bana being a badass, but then like kinda we don't see it finish with him. And then we get introduced to these characters, but not really introduced to them because we don't know to care about them as much as we care about Eric Bana. You know what I mean? So immediately they just gave us a bunch of information, and I don't think anyone's paying attention. I certainly never paid attention to it because it was like, oh, these people matter. Like I thought Eric Bana mattered, and he disappeared from from the movie, and that's gonna be a part of the mystery of why he disappeared. And then it's like, oh no, that wasn't a mystery at all. Like he didn't matter. We just needed to show you that one, he was king, and his king had men, and his men are gonna show up later on in the movie. But yeah, we don't really care about Eric Bana. This is about King Arthur. It's like, damn, okay. So immediately there's a whole lot of funkiness going down with that, with the story. 'And then on top of that, all the uh, all the quick montage of King Arthur growing up. Like all this is cool, by the way. All of it looks great, by the way. It all looks awesome. I think that's why I could always go back and rewatch it was because it looks awesome. So yeah, it's that's why I've always had such a hard time with not liking it, is because it's like, oh, okay, cool, man. I dig this. I dig everything that I'm looking at, but I don't understand it one bit. And that's a problem. So yeah, man. Immediately I was like, okay, now that I'm actually watching with intent, I can follow along with the movie and I could see why I've gotten completely lost before the movie even starts, before there's even like real dialogue. And then I think the movie starts, and I'll get into why I'm saying I think as opposed to like, oh no, the movie just actually did start. No, the movie hasn't started yet when we get down to brass tacks. But I will save that for later on. And it has everything to do with storytelling, and I'll even talk about how to remedy it. And you know, honestly, when once I get to a place where I can do video editing, I will be doing these essays. I will write down my stuff. I will do something because I finally figured out what the hell it is that how I can contribute to everything that I know and love as far as like these breakdowns in communication of entertainment and things like that. You know, it's something that I always have a gripe with, and I can never find a channel that discusses it. So I'll be the one to do that. Um, but until I get the you know the hardware that can handle the video editing, because my 2012 laptop that I have here cannot do that. Um, it's just too much for it to handle. Um, you know what I mean? You can go to my YouTube channel. You can see how sad and pathetic my introduction video is because I just shot that just bullshitting, just practicing, and it took so long to actually render and practice with the video that I was like, you know what? I'm not going to reshoot this. Um, I'm just gonna use it because it took me 2 full days just to render a 90-second video. So yeah, like that's the type of hardware that I'm dealing with. So that's what I mean when I say like I'm gonna wait. Um, okay. So now I think that the movie starts. Oh wait, give me the lasso. So now I think the movie starts, and it's with Charlie Hunnam as King Arthur. He's all grown up and shit. Oh shit. There we go. Okay. Yeah. See, this is where little things like this come in handy. Look at that. Okay. So now we get into the movie, and it kind of as Charlie Hunnam's growing up, they're showing the king who took over, who I didn't even realize like was like the king's brother, but there was a line of like he's like an adopted brother or something. I have no idea. Either way, he's like the king's brother, but he isn't, and he has to sacrifice his wife, and we don't really know why. And you know, the king dies, and it's like, who the fuck was that? But we don't know that the king died. We could just assume that he died. But we saw the mom died, and so it was like, okay, who the fuck was that guy who killed the mom? Like, there's just so much mystery. And here's the thing, and I'll definitely dive into it later, but you don't want to start off with like with confusing people. Um, I'll definitely start discussing more and more as we dive deep into this. But that immediately, now I know. Here's the thing: it's still stupid and fucked up, and I don't like it. And it's like, okay, no wonder why I couldn't keep up with the movie because I would never know to try to keep up with something like that. Um, okay, there we go. Oh wait, what? Where is my? There you are. Oh, that's him. Whoops. There we go. Okay. So now we get into the movie, and you know, Charlie Hunnam's character, he's like a whatever tough guy. I love it. This is the part of the movie that I love. The taking the old school shit, the old school English bullshit. And I'll be honest, man, I never really talk about it because I don't want to come off as ignorant, but I really hate old school shit. Like all that like the old Robin Hood movies and all that stuff. Like I hated it, and I figured out what it was like a few years ago that I hated about that stuff. It was all that like all the people look stupid, the outfits look dumb, like the fashion, it doesn't make sense to me. And then I figured out that it was because everyone looked the same. All the knights looked the same, all the common people looked the same, like like as if there was a uniform. You know what I mean? And even like rival armies look the same. They might just have different colors to them, but like it just never really like caught my imagination, that sort of world and everything like that. It wasn't until Game of Thrones came by that I could see the difference between the North and the South. I could see the difference between the Lannister richness and the how lacking in resources the wildlings are. It was in Game of Thrones I could see like, oh, the Night's Watch, they do have a uniform because they're kind of like a military force of some sort. So they do have a uniform. Things like that where it wasn't until Game of Thrones, and granted, I was like already old by the time Game of Thrones came out, or by the time I started watching it, because I didn't start watching it until season 6. I had to binge watch seasons 1 through 5, and by the time I got done watching season 5, binge watching all of it, season 6 had already started, so I got to binge watch a little bit of season 6, at least in the beginning, and then that's when I got caught up to it. So I only watched 6, 7, and 8, those seasons, um, like like but just to put a timestamp to it, if you're aware of like Game of Thrones and the time scale of it all and everything like that. But none of that stuff ever looked cool to me until then. All of a sudden, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. The difference between poor people and rich people, and at least back in those days. Anytime there's a movie from back in those days, I feel like they've always just failed to hit the mark of like, oh, these people are poor. And they either way, hopefully said hopefully I've made my point. I don't know. So, oh, why was I talking about that though? What does that have to do with King Arthur? Oh, well, yeah, the Guy Ritchie telling of the story, like the Guy Ritchie style of them using like today's time, today's lingo, or form of informal way of speaking, things like that. You know, since that was happening, all of a sudden, like I can get down with this movie because of that. That's another reason why I loved the movie and gave it as many chances and opportunities as I have, is because it's like it has that going for it. That whole I don't know, the way that it's cut and edited, and the way that the guys have fun speaking to one another, things like that. Like they have Roose Bolton in there, and he's all, which Mike was it? Dirty Mike, Larry Mike, Harry Mike, like, and he's like, just the way that they go back and forth, the dialogue, the way that the dialogue is written, is just perfect for me. Oh shit, they're playing Ain't no lot of money in a Ziploc bag, Smash for the cash, yeah. I don't give a fuck you think about it. You don't wanna see me in a deep dark alley. You wanna you know, to get out of here, don't get out of, beat 'em up, Man, I love that song. So, so they get into that. Now this is the part of the movie that I always did enjoy, because it's like, okay, now I can sit back and relax. There's no more verbiage on the screen. There's no more fast montage cuts. There's no more like confusing editing or lack of information. Like they start telling a story, and it immediately, and this is what I learned. I won't break this down scene for scene, but I will talk about it. Um, I might as Let me just say it. They do the bad storytelling thing that a lot of storytellers do. And I don't know who wrote it, and I don't know who's responsible for editing it in the way that they did. I don't know where that decision came from, but I see it in a lot of stories, and I hate it. And it's probably just my personal preference. It's probably not like a bad storytelling method, but I don't like it. And this is what I'm talking about. They do the thing where they do some awesome shit because they want to show the awesome shit first. So something awesome happens on screen, and it's like, holy shit, that's awesome. And then, but it's like, but I don't really quite understand it. And then they go back and then they go do all the exposition afterwards, but all the exposition happened chronologically before they showed all the dope shit. So it's like, why didn't you just tell me the story in chronological order and save the dope shit for later? And it's like, well, no, because we want to show you the dope shit now. And it's like, well, you just told me a shitty story because you went and told me the end of the story, which is dope. And then you went back and explained it all by jumping to the front of the story that you were just withholding from me because you're a bad storyteller. So they do this. It's like, because there's so much that happens. And this all is within the first 15 minutes of the movie. I'm going to fast forward to 1 hour into the movie. 1 hour and 3 minutes, just past an hour. That is when the movie actually starts. I'll say it again. King Arthur, Legend of the Sword, the Guy Ritchie movie with Charlie Hunnam. The movie doesn't start until 1 hour into the movie. The first 15 minutes is kind of confusing and jarring, and I don't know what the fuck is going on. And then it goes on for another 45 minutes, and then tonight was the first time I watched it, watching it for like the fifth or sixth time, and I'm still not saying it's a bad movie. It's a great movie. I just don't agree with that storytelling method. And like I said, like people could love it, and I don't want to shit on y'all. Like it is what it is. So oh shit. Damn, how do I want to do this with this guy? I wonder if I could just do it this way. I'd hate to do it this way, but maybe I could find something. So that's what happens. Some dope shit happens, and then they have to go back and storytell. So there's a lot of like of the timeline going forward, and then it's like jump back before it, and now cut back to the timeline, go forward, but then jump back and retell some shit, and then scroll forward, and then jump, go back to where we are currently, and then go forward, but then we have to jump back to go tell some other shit that happened way back in the past. And it was like, oh my God, why didn't you guys just all tell me this shit chronologically? Why was this not told to me chronologically? Yeah, I was afraid this was going to be the one, but it looks like this is going to be the one. So, and what do I mean by that? Like I said, I didn't want to break down the story because I didn't really watch it that much. I was kind of keeping mental notes of it all, and then once I realized, oh my God, the movie doesn't start until 1 hour into the movie. Like, that's why I was like, that's why I never got into it, because I was always confused and just looking at dope shit, but not really keeping up with the story for the first hour. That's a long time to keep your audience like waiting for something to happen. You know what I'm saying? That is a long time to keep people waiting. Oh shit. Never keep your audience waiting for an hour for the movie to start. Never do that. Never do that. And that little method that I was talking about where like they tell the B part of the story because some dope shit happens, and then they have to go back to the beginning of the A part to explain why the B part happened in the first place, because even though the B part was dope, it's confusing as to why it happened. We don't know why the good guys are getting away with shit, but then it was like, oh yeah, it was because I figured it out, when we were going over the plan, but we're not going to talk about the plan before we go ahead and execute it. And it was like, well, why not? That's usually how things go. You have a conversation, you formulate a plan, and then you execute the plan. It's like, oh, like that's how you're supposed to do it. Someone is not done that way. Ugh, I don't know. I just really hate it when you know movies and TV shows do that, and they all tend to do it. And I don't know. I might be in the minority of it. I might be the minority who like wants to nitpick at something like that, but I just think it's really poor storytelling. I was gonna say Tory Stelling? Storytelling. So they keep you waiting for an hour. The movie doesn't start until the scene after King Arthur pulls the sword from the stone. King Arthur's pulling the sword from the stone, and still the movie hasn't started yet. It's not until after he pulls the sword out, he has like a spasm and he's unconscious, and then the king and all his men lock him up until he wakes up, and then he's like, they do the whole display in public of like, you're gonna renounce yourself as king. You're either gonna say you're king and we're gonna kill you, or you're gonna renounce your kingliness and say that we're gonna let you go, but we're just still gonna kill you no matter what. And then King Arthur gets broken out, and it's like, and again they break him out, and we don't know why. Like, I thought it was his boys who broke him out. Every time I watch this movie in the past, because King Arthur in the montage, like, he's developing a rep, and he has like a whole crew, and he has friends, and he has people and all this shit. So when he's getting broken out by the king, I'm thinking, oh, his boys came to break him out. Wrong. I actually watched it this time. Wrong. Nope. That isn't what happened. He got broken out by his father's men, who I don't really remember. And that's why I said it's probably important for us to know that those are his father's men. Oh wait, do I have that selected? Here, let me. Oh shit. See, this is what happens when I talk and don't do art. Like I start not paying attention to like little details. All right, let me do this. Okay, so that's what I have going on. All right, so oh, I already did that part. Okay. So yeah, man, he gets broken out by the old king's people, but it's not even Digimon and Littlefinger who do it. It's like some bumpkins who we never met before. So it's like, who are these strangers? And why do I care about these strangers breaking them out? I don't. I don't care about these strangers breaking them out. Like, because we never met them before. We don't know that they're Littlefinger and Digimon's people. We just know that he's getting broken out by people, and it's like, oh, well, clearly he's being broken out by his boys. And for the first time, watching this movie like 10 times, I keep adding the amount of times I've watched. I watched it like, this is probably my fifth time, honestly, but I probably watched it more than that. For the first time, I'm realizing, oh no, he was getting broken out by his daddy's homeboys. What? How did I not know that before? How is that not clear? How is that not... I can't even speak right now. Like, how, why, what? Like, why don't I know that? Like, why, dude, that blew me away. It blew me away because I was literally watching this, and like I said, I'm watching it with intent, so I'm paying attention. I'm paying super attention to everything now. For the first time, because I guess you have to. This guy's getting broken out after the king captures him and is gonna kill him, and he gets broken out by people we don't know or care about. The only thing that we kinda see that almost kinda gives it away is a scene where this random wizard girl goes to meet Digimon and is like, "Do you know who I am?" And he's like, "Yes, I have seen you in my dreams." And it was like, I don't know, man. This is a Guy Ritchie movie. I feel like "I See You in My Dreams" probably should have been said, uh, like some other way. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I just, I don't know. That's just how it should have went. Either way. Um. So yeah, so that's the only giveaway is because no, we don't know who this mage girl is. And him saying, "Yes, I have seen you in my dreams," doesn't say who she is. Like, you're a girl, you're a hot chick in a blue hoodie who appears at King Arthur's execution. That's the only connection of Digimon to to King Arthur's breakout. And because we don't really know who Digimon is, because unless you're paying super attention, you weren't really seeing that he was there for King Arthur's daddy's last hurrah. You know? Uh we don't know this girl because we have not been introduced to her. So I guess that's gonna have to go like that, maybe, for now. Okay, so yeah, that goes like that. And then that goes like this. And then this probably should go like that. Okay. Okay. So so yeah, King Arthur pulls the sword from the stone, almost gets executed by the king, gets rescued, and the movie still hasn't started. Do you hear me? That's a problem. Oh, where the fuck? I lost the arm. There you are. Okay. Sorry about that. I'm losing myself. Here, let me dumb this down so I could see. There we go. There we go. So that's just gonna have to work like that. And I'll adjust it later on. Selection, load selection, and so yeah, man. Like he gets broken out of prison, and it's like this whole mad scramble. So still not even really paying attention. You know what I mean? Like still not really like understanding what's happening. But you know, doing my best. And it's like, okay, so and now all of a sudden scenes are making a little bit more sense to me because I was like, oh, so that's why he's talking to these people like he doesn't know them, as this is why they locked him up and chained him, or like, you know, tied a bag over his head, and you know, tried to hide like where they were taking him to. Oh shit, I'm doing the wrong thing. There we go. Oh, so yeah, and this is why I say the movie didn't start yet, because then they go back and they have to explain the sword to Charlie Hunnam. They have to explain the sword to King Arthur. They're like, "Hey, King Arthur, this is what's up with the sword." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And it's like, um, they had to like go and talk about like, oh, like where the sword came from, and like Merlin gave it to his dad, and da 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 da. Like, like they just did all this, like explaining, and I'm just like, oh, was that what happened this whole time? There we go. So yeah, man, I I never knew that the movie didn't start until an hour in, because it's only after they explain the sword that it's like, oh, okay, now where do we start? Oh, this is where we're gonna start. This is how we're gonna start. All right, let's start training. And it was like, wait, you couldn't just tell the story like in chronological order to get to that part, to get to all this stuff, like to get to the part where they're uh like training King Arthur. And the whole reason why they're training him, I started laughing because I was like, oh, okay. Like I know before when I watched it, they were training him and it was like just whatever. Like, okay, he has to learn how to use a sword because he's like a British gangster. But now it's more like oh, they got to train him because these are his king. This is his dad's old friends, and they want to overthrow the king. They want to overthrow the corrupt king. And now I understand why they want to get rid of the king now as opposed to have ever done it in the past. It was like I get it. They had to wait for him to pull the sword out, but I didn't know that they weren't like his friends. Cuz of course, why would anybody but his friends break him out? Like so much just started making sense to me, but as the more it made sense, the more I was like, "Oh, they could have did this a lot better." And oh, and even I didn't even talk about this. I even just forgot about this in between watching the movie just now and starting this stream. Another thing that happened in the very beginning of the movie, like while they were doing the wall scroll and the king fighting the mages and elephants at the very beginning of the movie, they did they had they did this scene where they had this scene where where there was like a random tower and a fire lit on it, and they never talk about it. They never talk about it. It's just a random thing that happens in the beginning where it's like, look at this dark tower and the fire is lit. What? Yeah, while they're explaining the sword's history to Charlie Hunnam, in a let's go back in time and tell some shit story, they they explain that tower, and I was like, wait, so then why'd they even show that tower in the beginning? Like that made no sense at all to show that tower in the beginning. Like it's literally like a 2 second cut, blink and you missed it. So it's like, hey, here's a word scroll. Here's a random tower with a fire being lit at the top of it. Now here's the king's story with the king's men who we never really pay attention to in this whole valley of of menagerie that's going on. And now and now here's the King Arthur growing up montage. It's like they throw four things at you within the first 15 minutes of the movie and they explain none of it. And it's not until an hour into the movie that now it's like, oh, okay, I get it. I know who the king is. I know who the king's men are. I know who King Arthur is. And I know who this little wizard girl is. Or at least I know she's a wizard. And I guess maybe they said like Merlin sent her at some point. So it's like, oh, okay, okay. Merlin sent the girl. Merlin made the sword for the daddy. The mages and the men had a little falling out. Uh, Whatever. Like, it was just so much. It was just so much. So, yeah, it got really. I had to laugh, with myself when I realized oh, the movie is just now starting. And what do they start with? What are our protagonists doing? Oh yeah, we got to go assassinate the king. And it's like, oh my god, these are our good guys. Our good guys' first move when the movie starts an hour in is we got to go kill the king. And it's like, oh, okay. Now I'm all caught up. Is the king a bad guy? For sure. Does he deserve to die in the end? For sure. Is he dark? Yeah. Do we know why? No. Like, like all of a sudden, it's making sense to me now. Can I merge these? Okay. Oh. So they go to plan to kill the king. And every time I've watched this in the past, I always thought, okay, King Arthur and his homies, who he grew up with his entire life, are all going to kill the king. That is not the case here. The case is King Arthur and his homies, along with all of his daddy's old homies, are all in together now to go kill the king. And now the movie starts, and now I'm like, okay, I can begin to enjoy this now. Oh my god, why didn't I? What's wrong with me? There we go. So yeah, man, I just I don't know. It's just weird. It's just weird that like I never put all this together. Even after I watched Game of Thrones and I watched that movie, I was like, okay, Littlefinger doing work, just killing people. You know what I mean? Hitting people with the longbow and shit. Like, and now I'll get into what I thought I didn't like about it. And I was like, you know what? These parts aren't even all that bad. And I was gonna say the action, the sword fighting. I was gonna say I thought that the problem, like when I went into watching this movie, I thought the reason why I didn't like it was because of of the action. I thought the action wasn't good. Like that's what I thought in my head, not knowing like what the problem was. I didn't know it was like the story or whatever. Oh, yeah, let me burn this. So yeah, man, like so all that I don't know. But as soon as I figured that out, I was like, oh, is that all I was missing this entire time? Was just that the story wasn't told in a way that I can really like understand what's happening as it's happening. Um, so yeah, man. Um, I went to go figure out what it was about the movie I didn't like, and I figured it out. And now because I know what it is that I don't like about the movie, I can watch it now. Now that I own it, I can watch it and enjoy it for what it is. And I can watch all the parts that I don't know or at least didn't know in the past and know what they are now and maybe, enjoy the movie a little bit more. But with that being said, like that's not I I wouldn't say that that's how movies and storytelling should work. I don't think that that's how, if you want to have like viewers and people enjoy your shit. Oh, what's going on? Hey, don't do that. Don't do that to me. There we go. So, yeah, man. And then I was able to enjoy the movie. Now I know what was going on in the movie. Now I was like, oh, is that all it was? Oh no, Photoshop is. I was gonna call it PlayStation. Photoshop is breaking down on me again. So, man, that was it. That was all that it was. Is a whole lot of confusing storytelling for the first hour of the movie, and then for the next hour, because I think it's only a 2 hour movie. It, you know, you have the story where it's like, hey, let's go kill the king. Then they fail to kill the king, and then they lose a couple of people along the way, and then they go back and they they start saying, okay, well, let's not kill the king, but let's kill his kingdom. And then they start attacking everything like a bunch of gangsters and shit like that. And it's like, oh, okay, like that's why all this stuff was happening, in the past and all that. Like again, all that stuff I didn't quite understand. So yeah, man, I just like now that I know what my problem with the movie is, it's like, oh, one part of me is like, oh, that's it, cool, I can go back and I can enjoy it now, and and watch it for like how I would like to watch it. And now, if I ever watch it with somebody and somebody else is like, I don't know what the fuck is going, I'll be able to like break it down for them exactly. I done fucked her ass asleep. I done fucked her ass asleep. So yeah, man. I mean, so they go to kill the king, they fail, then they attack his kingdom, in which they start succeeding, and then the ending happens where the king finds their hideout, and then he attacks them, and then they have to do like a Hail Mary in order to win in the end. And the action scenes that happen with when King Arthur takes up the sword and starts like getting gangster on people, like that was it was cool. Where are we at? All right. But yeah, I think that's probably, and only reason why I'm comfortable saying this is because nobody else has done it, so it may just be my thing to do once I get editing hardware. Um, to actually break movies down chronologically because so many of them don't tell the story chronologically, and sometimes it's cool, sometimes it's done right, sometimes it actually has meaning behind it, but let's be honest, most of the time it isn't. Most of the time it's just lazy storytelling, and it's just um you know well yeah, it's just lazy storytelling. There we go. Courage. No, sorry. So yeah, man, that's what it was. Mission accomplished. I figured out everything that I wanted to figure out. Um, and then, it does it one more time. Now that I'm actually watching the movie forward, now they go back and they show what happened with the king at the very end. So King Arthur and us, we find out together what happened, why he's having these nightmares, who these people are, all this stuff. And but yeah, that's so they go back and they explain what happened with the old king, and it's like, oh, okay, I guess. Like at this point, but now I can kind of see why the movie didn't do as well as it probably like could have slash should have. Because now that I could see like, oh man, had it just went this way instead. So yeah, it was disappointing. Like it's cool. Like I'm kind of happy to know that that's what it was. But man, I'm also kind of like, and then the movie ends after that. They do everything. They show the flashback of what happened with the dad and why everything happened with the sword and the stone and all this and all that, and it's cool. I still like it all. Oh, and going call back to the big animals and the magic stuff. I still don't quite understand about the big snake. Like I wonder if I'm guessing the big snake was real, cause or maybe it was one of two things. Either it really was a big snake and that magic girl conjured it up, like how the wizard in the beginning conjured giant elephants, she conjured a giant snake. Or Charlie Hunnam was just tripping and he killed all those people in that room, not the snake. And I don't know. Oh, wow, this is a trick that I was thinking about doing earlier. So it's neat to kind of see the effects and actually how well it's actually going. I don't know how to control the values for this just yet, but yeah, I actually like that. Hell yeah. All right. And and then I guess one of my favorite parts that I loved and hated was how the CG knight, the CG bad guy who killed uh, Arthur's dad, and Arthur had to battle at the end, was his uncle the whole time. Like the uncle, and that was also kind of stupid though, because it's like the uncle had to kill his wife to become the knight, to kill his brother to become the king, and then he had to kill his daughter in order to transform back into that knight in order to kill King Arthur. I was like, that price is a little too high. Like, you killed your wife and your daughter to kill other members of your family? And I think that it wasn't like his real family. Like, maybe they were, like, he was like an adopted father of some, or adopted kid of some sort or something. I don't know. But still, like whatever. There we go. Man. So yeah, then, I didn't even like that. Like, dude, if you kill the love of your life, like you better have that power to transform into a giant knight, murderous, looking exactly like a Frazetta death dealer. Oh, I closed out the internet already. Dude, tell me that this knight don't look like Death Dealer. Oh shit. Let me try this again. Oh, come on. Anytime I deal with the internet, all of a sudden my computer bogs down, my Photoshop bogs down. Alright, Death Dealer. I wonder if I have to type in more. Oh yeah, see, Frank Frazetta. So, this is Frank Frazetta's original character. Like, Frank Frazetta never got to make his own story. Like, he painted a whole bunch of dope shit for a bunch of other people, and then he created this character for himself, and he never got to get around to actually telling any stories of it. And yeah, this is Death Dealer. He's the dopest dope ever, right? Like, he looks like a medieval badass. And it's a shame that he died before Frank Frazetta died before he ever got you know, he ever got to tell the story of this guy. But I think it, with the name and the look, Death Dealer and looking like this, like I like to think of him kind of like Eddie from uh fuck, what's that band's name? Why am I blanking on their name? Eddie from shit. Hallowed be thy name. Be is their song. They're one of their band members got a plane license so they could fly a plane. What the fuck's their name? Iron Maiden. Shit. Like Iron Maiden's Eddie is like their mascot. I feel like Death Dealer is Frank Frazetta's mascot, only because the story never got told. But look at this knight, and then King Arthur Dark Knight. See if this like gets us that guy. Well, that's him, but I want to see a full body shot. What if I just type in King Arthur CG Knight? Is that gonna bring it to us? Well, there's the movie. And I mean, this is the knight, but it's like, I want to see his full body. Okay. King Arthur, Legend, Sword, CG Knight. God damn it. Like this is the knight I'm talking about, but I want to see his full body. Like here's even a mid shot of him, but even that's not doing it justice. It's like I want to see his full his full body. Like they have so many shots of him in the movie. Either way, like if I there it is. Dope. Okay. There we go. And let's go back and look at Death Dealer. There we go. Let's get a clean shot. Well, you know what? This one works. No, 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 no. Give me this one. There we go. So yeah. Oh, come on. What the fuck? Give me. See, this is why I don't like to work with my computer too much, at least on stream. It's just too laggy. Like it just cannot handle. So this is the Death Dealer, and this is Frank Frazetta's OG character. I love it. We all love it. And this is the villain in King Arthur. Like I love the character design, and but I hate the idea that this is who Jude Law transforms into, because Jude Law probably comes up to this guy's like nipples, maybe. You know what I mean? Like this guy's huge, and it's like, wait, you had to sacrifice your daughter so you could become this guy just for like 5 minutes? Like that is not worth it, homie. Like that is not worth it. Like you better be that guy for life. So, yeah. But I mean, it's still a badass look though. Like it's a badass looking CG monster. I just wish they had, I feel like you could just get a regular guy in with minimal CG. This is all CG. Like get a guy in an outfit. You know what I mean? They spent so much on special effects on this movie. I feel like they could have did it. Either way. I don't think I've saved this file yet. So yeah, man, that and then of course King Arthur wins in the end, and then you can't tell a King Arthur story without having a round table in it, and now we have the that one movie coming out called The Green Knight or something like that, and it's all about it's it's like a story about one of King Arthur's knights going out to fight a knight or something like that. I'm not exactly sure about it. It looks kind of cool, but I'm kind of wondering, like, I wonder if that has anything to do with like the King Arthur story as far as like writing and scripts being handed down in Hollywood. Like if King Arthur was meant to like go on and become more, because it was like, oh wait, didn't King Arthur have that one knight on his team, Lancelot? Like where did Lancelot come from? Because he wasn't in this movie. Now that I'm like paying attention to people's names and shit, you know what I mean? So yeah, there we go. So get this to 25, set it to color. There we go. So yeah, he fights his uncle, he defeats his uncle, and then like who cares, right? Like I hate that that's what it's come to with me watching movies and stuff like that, but it was kind of like, you know, I'm here to love this shit, man. Like I want to love it, but if I don't love it immediately and I watch it 10 times and I still don't love it, it's like if I love it enough to try to figure out what it was about it that I didn't like. Like that's me trying to be respectful. Again, Guy Ritchie is one of my favorite directors and shit. And I think, I can't wait to watch The Wrath of Man. Oh wait, put this shit back on normal. Oh yeah, let me do color. All right, where we at? Find one more thing. So yeah, like it, it's just a whole lot of like that back and forth shit. And then what that forces my mind to do is to think about, oh shit. It forces me to think about like what's this story in chronological order now, going all the way back to the shit that happened before, with King Arthur's dad, to the fallout with the men and mages, to, you never see Merlin in this movie. He's only like referenced and shit like that. um yeah. Let's see where we at. It's been 90 minutes talking about this. I'm damn near done. I think I might want to just add a little spice to this joint. So yeah, I would love to be the guy who goes on YouTube to create a channel that timelines all these movies that do this terrible storytelling of like, let's tell the dope shit first, and now let's go back in time and explain why all the dope shit happened. Instead, it's like, no, just tell a good story from beginning to end. I mean, look at all the great movies out there. They kind of just tell the story. Hey, here's the beginning, and we're gonna move forward from here without cutting back. If we do cut back, like, there it matters, but most of the time it doesn't matter. But I don't know, yeah. I'd really love to do that because I try to find these things online and then I just never find them. See, good thing I saved that selection, man. This is why I wanted to do it because I kind of saw this happening. Select. Load selection. Ah, shit. Alright. There we go. Hey, come on. Oh, really? Is that all I'm getting? Shit. Well, that doesn't help. It's still on 25. No wonder. Oh shit, it's still set to color? God damn it. No wonder this isn't. There we go. I was like, why is this not as strong? It's like, alright. Yeah, that's gonna be the end of this one, man. Let's see, where do we start and where did we end? So we started with this picture, and we're ending here. So stupid. Started here, ending here. Let's go through it layer by layer. Started there, did some color changes, added the face, of course. Oh yeah, this fin is in the background. Yeah, let me do this. So we added the face, added the mask, of course, added the hair, clothes, and these fins. But yeah. Select color range. No. Select load selection. Okay. Color range and there we go. At least hide some of those tattoos, make them less identifiable. All right. Call it end of this one. Finally go eat those eggs. Let's see where we at. You see this dude? Hell yeah. And now, bam. All right. Well, that's gonna be the end of this stream. I'm glad I got the King Arthur stuff out of my head. At least now it's like clear to me. And anybody listening to this, of course we could talk about it. Maybe I'll if and when I ever go and start editing videos and content and breaking down movies and breaking them into proper timelines or chronological timelines at the very least to retell the story in a different light. Um, maybe King Arthur maybe I make it the first one I do. Shit. I kind of already did it in my head. Now I just need to actually practice and do the damn thing. But either way, I'm G Mr. Drew. That's at G Mr. Drew on all social media. You can follow, like, and subscribe. Any and all support is appreciated. And yeah, gmrdrew.art. My website, links in bio. You can check out everything I've done in there. You can hit me up through there, contact me, all that other stuff. Let me know. And I'm on Fiverr and Patreon, doing commission work and everything like that. Different tiers get you a different commission. There's plenty of options on there, so I would suggest definitely go check them out if you're into my work. This is just some photo bashing that I'm doing, but like, I'm an illustrator as well, and you could check that out on like Instagram and all that other stuff, everything that I do. Um, but either way, man, I want to thank you and everybody for watching the Andrew Glowczewski Experience, episode 160. We getting up there, man. I'll be back later on to do another one of these. Uh, so yeah, I'll be back. Love y'all. Peace.